Good morning, Easton. Welcome. We are streaming live from Plein Air Easton Competition and Festival. We have 55 artists from all over the United States participating this year, and we have 3 from the United Kingdom. They are all in Talbot County, capturing our stunning landscape and our culture through their paintings. I just have a few programming notes, but I do want to add the energy's been high this week, and we're looking forward to an exciting weekend. We still have to take in our competition pieces. We have the collector's party on Friday night. We have an exciting quick draw competition on Saturday morning. On Sunday, we have Small Painting Sunday and the Judges Talk, where Peter Trippi will explain all of his choices for winning paintings. Some programming notes for us as Nancy gets ready her palette. Headquarters is open today from 10 to 6. Tonight we have an opening reception at Eastern Shore Land Conservancy. This was a special invitational competition that Nancy was invited to participate in as well as 12 of her peers. So that's opening tonight at the Land Conservancy at their office on 14 South Washington Street, I believe. You might want to double check the calendar, from 5 to 7 tonight. Headquarters, this building is closed tomorrow. We are taking in the competition pieces and receiving art all day, and we'll be hanging as well. Instead, since you cannot visit this exhibit tomorrow, please go and visit Local Color. They are having their opening reception tomorrow at noon. They will have their awards for their juried competition. And they are also winners of our Hall of Fame, one of our Hall of Fame award distinctions this year. So we really want to go and support them. And also all the local galleries are open, a lot of them featuring Plein Air alumni artists. So that's something to take into account also, and something to do tomorrow while we are so busy. If you haven't been to headquarters, please remember the JFM Frames. They are a wholesale distributor of ready-made and custom-made frames, and they are family-owned and operated business for over 50 years. Pat hauls his wares up from Georgia every year to set up shop in a corner of Plein Air Easton. We love having him, and we love having that resource during Plein Air Easton as well. They are open from 10 to 6 today, 10 to 3 on Friday. They'll be in the street in front of the Plein Air Easton headquarters on Saturday, and Sunday they'll be alongside the headquarters. I got out of order, Nancy.
It's okay.
Wow. So without further delay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. I am so proud to introduce Nancy Tankersley. It bears repeating, and I said yesterday that she is the only person to hold every role in Plein Air Easton imaginable, but I missed one yesterday. Do you know what it was?
No, what?
Anybody? Anybody that was watching yesterday? Nancy has been a founder and a visionary. She has been a volunteer, a juried artist. She has been a Plein Air Easton alumni. She has juried the competition. She has judged it. She is a teacher, and last year recipient of the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yes.
Also. I think that's all of them, right?
Yeah, that's enough. Now I'm an alumni, so that's a good thing.
Thank you for sharing your art, your creativity, and your knowledge with us, Nancy. We appreciate you. And without further delay, let's go.
And thank you, Marie, for all that you do. You have really filled in a lot of little holes and brought it all together.
Thank you,
Great
Nancy.
job of that. So, okay, if you were here yesterday, I talked about design. I talked a little bit about dynamic symmetry and how I lined things up according to some lines that I already had on the painting, according to dynamic symmetry principles, which I will not go into because I don't know that much about it. but I'm finding it very, very useful. And then I blocked in all my colors in acrylic. And this took me, a little bit over an hour, I guess. And this is how I work in the field when I am doing a large painting. If I'm doing a small painting, I just go in directly with my oils. But a large painting, with my technique, I like to have a layered color, and you can't do that with oils that are wet. They have to dry in between. So to do it out in the field, I use acrylic. So today, having hopefully solved all my problems, well, all my problems with this painting, anyhow. I'm about ready to begin. There's a problem. I'm not crazy about the shadow shape, and I may find myself, in fact, I can tell right away one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this shadow shape up here a little bit more, and maybe put some suggestion of things on top of the building. It's a building behind me that's casting that shadow shape. It's also, the shadow shape is progress, which is responsible for destroying this whole complex of farm granaries, processing areas that used to be there, and as of this year, no longer is there. So, all right. And I've painted this many times from different angles, and I've always enjoyed it, and I've always had pretty much success with the paintings that I've done, and I think it's because of the strong geometry that's in it that really appeals to me. So, okay, and you can see, hopefully you can see these lines here. These were lines that I had already set up, and it solved my first question for me. It was, where should this prominent shape go? Just slid right into that slot without, oh, should it be here? Should it be here? Right there, where it had already, set it up. So that was gratifying to see that worked. All right, so I'm going to start with my blocking in my colors again. And feel free to ask questions, because I can easily stop. And I'm using a medium that's called, it's a non-toxic medium, and it's made by Sennelier, and it allows, it's Sennelier green for oil medium gel. It allows the paints to go on more smoothly and dry more quickly. This is a canvas that I borrowed from another artist, or I'm buying it, obviously, but and it's not a surface I've used before, so it'll be interesting to see if I struggle with it or if I find it good for my purposes. It's pretty slick, it's pretty fine. Okay. And I'm leaving, I'm not taking the sky right up to the shapes because I've put enough paint on, I can just pull the paint down later and do that. Actually, all right, now I'm going to go to the, I'm just going to work my way down, ignoring these areas because that is where I'm going to spend most of my time. Why do I have what? Underneath it? I like to see little bits of color underneath. It just sets up a vibrancy that wouldn't be there if I just totally covered it. Yeah. What? This is just ultramarine and white. It's pretty simple. I may go back and drag some color over it. In the photograph, it was actually a winter scene, and the grass is gray, but I'm going to go with more of a summer scene. I'm indicating there the path, the bike path that used to be the old railroad bed. So, at one time, the trains would come up and unload their grain, I guess, and it was quite an industry. And then last year, Purdue, which had been using the silos in this area, which is where they processed the grain or did something to it, and then the trucks would drive up here and the grain would come down and be taken away. When Purdue closed, developers snapped the property up. It's all gone. It's going to be housing and businesses. So, all right, and then this is a I'm going to brush this out a little bit and so I can thin the paint, so I may set up in time that I can paint over it as needed. So So I'm trying to keep it thin. Oops. I'm a little out of practice. I don't know where my stuff goes. In a big painting like this, I start out with it because you can cover more space with a palette knife than you can with the brush. It's just faster. You see, over here, my underpainting is so close to what I'm putting on top that I really don't have to totally cover it. I can let the underpainting provide some texture. Oops. Well, there goes another pair of shoes. Okay. I think I said I wanted to take that higher, and then I forgot. See if I can. Here's another tool that I like to use. It's called a potter's rib. And it actually can apply the paint pretty quickly and in nice thin swashes, almost like glazing. Mm-hmm. Right now I'm thinking of both. I pretty much solved the value yesterday. And so now I'm trying to match those values, but also introduce color. Just gonna go back to tried and true wet brushes, heavily diluted, because I didn't mix enough. But that's all right. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that. Well, here's a little bit more for now. Just reminding myself that there is actually a change in color between this, and when I go back to it, I need to address that. Okay, I think now I'm ready to start with all the interest up here. Like I said yesterday, I've decided to make this a summer scene. And it's morning, so I'm going with a lemony yellow light. So you don't really ever want to use pure white. You're really painting the color of the light on the object. To make that corner turn, both of those sides are getting light, but they're different. So I'm going to cool the light on the side. And that helps that corner to turn. Even if I obscure that dark line, it still helps that corner. Okay. I see today I've got this structure here a little bit fat. So I'm going to have to work with that. I'm deliberately making this blue here a different color just to give it some interest back here. I see a little bright blue structure, tiny little dot of color on their side of the building. I didn't see that yesterday, and I'm going to put that there, just so that we have color all over the place, just kind of dancing around. Okay. I think all right, now I'm going to start straightening up lines with my palette knife. need a smaller brush at this point. Okey-dokey. I find palette knives are much better for making straight lines than brushes. You can kind of just push it up against the canvas and it'll hold your hand steady sometimes. Okay. And I'm not going to try to get this exactly, you know, every rail, every line expressed. I'm just going to try to get the general idea so that it's recognizable because more important than what goes on inside a shape is the silhouette of the shape. And if you get the silhouette of the shape right, then that's often enough information. It's like when you paint a tree and the tree's, well, if you're looking at a tree and a tree's 100 yards away, you know what kind of tree it is by the silhouette. You don't know what kind of tree it is because you're seeing every little leaf, but we often concentrate too much on that type of detail and we don't get the silhouette right. I don't really think of it that way. I want my detail and my focal point. And, you know, when I feel like I've said enough, then I stop. And sometimes, you know, I've never really thought about it as a percentage. This is just a suggestion of the little houses that are over here. Just trying to break that shape up just a little bit. I can see the horizon line is a little higher than I had it. Anybody know what time it is? 11:20? Okay. It's a little bit too purple. So I'm going to cut that with some yellow. Yeah. You notice I've been avoiding that, right? Yeah, I didn't want to have the whole thing in shadow the way it is. I really should be looking at this because I like that shadow shape. My shadow does. But if you look at the 4 sketches I did, I like that one. And so I think I need, part of the problem is I think this canvas is a little taller than that one is. Makes a difference. I'm gonna Now I'm changing the value of that area by just lightly adding some color over it, a lighter value color. Kind of the same thing here. I need to clean up my working space a little bit.
Nancy,
Yeah.
we have a question online. What surface are you painting on?
You'll have to ask Jill Basham. It's a universal primed linen.
Okay.
And I don't know what brand it is or anything like that. It's just I didn't have the right size canvas, and Jill very kindly let me have one of hers. So. I'm starting to like it better, and the reason I like it is I'm starting to put surface texture into it. I'm finding that interesting, and that's what you want. You want a good design that draws people in, and then you want to reward them with all these interesting little bits of surface texture and little bits of color, but it still has to stay within the shadow and the light pattern. You're stunned, aren't you? This is just a way of, it's almost like glazing, drawing some of the wet paint down over dry areas and unifying them. Also knocks down some of the edges that might be distracting. And here I'm really thinking more abstractly. I'm using this to mimic some of the shapes that are up there. Just trying to find a way to break this shape. I'm just trying to indicate the broken up cement that's been there, all those heavy trucks over the years, driving over that. I think one thing would be interesting, it's not there, but it could be, would be that's two. I'll get my trusty tool out again and start working with it. My potter's rib. I called it a nib for the longest time, and somebody finally wrote me an email and told me it was potter's rib. I don't know why I thought it was a nib. Oops. Oh, I kind of like that. Now that was an accident, but why not? You know, it could be shadow. There we go, a shadow broken up by two separate buildings. That connects. What? I broke it up? Yeah. Yeah.
Impressionist painting and a beautiful abstract painting, and they work together. I don't know how you did that.
Well, you know, all painting is really abstract. And go look at a John Singer Sargent close up. You know, it's just a bunch of abstract shapes. And you step back, and it works if you have the values right. So I feel like the pavement is starting to work, and the shadow is not so alien. It's feeling like it's part of the scene. I feel like my this color here is a little too acid. I want to change that just a tiny bit. And I might be able to do that with this tool. Let's see. And I want the feeling of light, but I also want it to look like grass. Kind of. I took the green that I had and I drug a little pink into it that was already down here. So I work with a limited palette, and that means just a few of the primary colors. And I like doing that because I feel like it creates more harmony. You're not always searching for the right color. You can easily get there with your few limited colors you have on your palette. Ten minutes? Okay. I will put the bird in, but I want to do a few more things. I could put a lot of birds in because there are a lot of birds in this photograph, but you don't really see them in the summer. They used to congregate after the grinding, of the grain was finished. Then they'd all come back and sit up there, scare my dog. They were pretty ominous look, I have to say. kind of like out of an Alfred Hitchcock movie. Now, in the summer, summer, you get the osprey, which are much more benign. But these are crows, I think, just real generic. Does anybody know what they are? What? Buzzards, yeah. I guess that's different than a crow, isn't it? Yeah, these are big birds. So I got to really be careful about the crispness and the value of my lines. I want them to be there, but I don't want them to be so dark, like up here, that they stand out from the surface. I just kind of messed it up right here, so let's see if I can go back in and there. All right, I'll get rid of that blue there, that orange there, but not all of it. Now, if I had more time, I would work a little bit more on the sky. Let's see if I can get a little bit of, and then I'm going to put the bird in. The birds, can't have just one bird. That's a dirty brush. Let's see if I got a clean one back here. There. I've screwed up there. Trying to rush now. Oh, well. Oops. I need 2 more hours. Which I would get if, if in plein air competition, I would probably come back for one more go at this. But I'm not unhappy with it. I think, what? 3, because I had an hour and a half yesterday, and an hour and a half today, and I think another hour. I'd be able to say everything I want to say in it. But from a distance, it works. I think it works okay, and I just need to keep working it until I get those magic strokes that you kind of do at the end. Yeah, the shadow was what I was I thought would be the biggest challenge. One thing I often do at the end is I get one of these out, and I'll probably put a clean one on, but on the edges I will do it, especially more than the middle, so that it softens, so you're not spending a lot of time on the edge, and it kind of forces your eye into the middle where I want it to be. So, any questions? No? Pardon? You'd like to see the bird darker? Well, over here it looks plenty dark, but it's yeah, it might need to be darker. The birdie on the building? This one here? I did put one there, I just can't see it too well. But I can see I could go back and... They're trying to kick me off the stage. Yeah. That's as good as I can do, I guess, in this amount of time. Yeah, when a shape is too big and too powerful, you somehow have to break it up and integrate it with the rest of the painting. So.
The oil dryer, are you using it at the beginning and mixing it with various colors, or as you go?
The oil dryer, that medium, I pretty much mix it with everything from the the start. It thins the oil, so it's good in the beginning. And then probably the last, there's enough on the canvas as it is now. The last few brush strokes, I would just put pure paint down. So, okie doke, let me get out of here. You're welcome. Oh, by the way, I have some brochures here. I'm having an open studio at my home studio on Friday if anybody's in town between 11 and 4. These brochures have maps on the back, and then I have some cards that list my workshops for next year if anybody's interested. So feel free to pick them up. Yeah.